So I am a recovering tech entrepreneur and serial entrepreneur. A little over 6 years ago, I built an HR software company called the Mentor Method that matched women, people of color, LGBTQ plus, and veterans eHarmony style to their top 3 mentors inside where they worked. I built a patent pending algorithm that matched based on personality, values, skills, and industry. And it was an incredible journey. We had customers including Amazon, the Department of Education, Slalom, and others that really helped underrepresented talent get the right mentors they need, because mentorship is so important to your career development. And oftentimes people from marginalized communities are left out of the mentorship conversations inside large organizations due to pattern matching. So if your executive leadership is predominantly straight white men, they will often seek out other straight white men for mentorship. And as we heard earlier in the phenomenal session this morning, it's important to diversify your reach, diversify your portfolio of mentors. And so the software helped with that. It was then acquired September of 2022, making me, thank you. So during the Mentor Method, I became the 94th Black woman in U.S. history to have raised over $1 million in institutional funding. And then with the acquisition in September of 2022, became Austin, Texas's first Black woman to have a venture-backed tech exit. And I felt that my work wasn't done in terms of helping women and people of color advance in their careers. I'm so deeply and profoundly passionate and motivated to help people build fulfilling careers. And so the opportunity to write Mentorship Unlocked presented itself, published by Wiley. And this is the next lap in radicalizing the way in which people are able to see themselves and their futures, be able to create these sustainable careers that are actually rewarding to them. Trusting my intuition and no longer practicing the self-abandonment of ignoring it. My intuition has never been wrong. It is the most critical. Everyone, trust your intuition, okay? It is so important, and especially as women, we're gifted with this ability to be able to read people, read situations. What ends up happening, though, is that you get society telling you to abandon yourself and abandon that intuition. You get good girl syndrome, you get make yourself smaller, you get you're too much, you're too little, all of the little isms that people throw at you that at birth you have no realization of, like, right? Society tells you what you're supposed to adopt and believe. And so the minute I shed all of that and have just focused on trusting my intuition, who do I partner with? Who do I bring onto my teams? Where do I want to work? Who do I have as a publisher? Who are my investors? And who do I even keep around me as either mentors or community or peer mentors? That has made a huge difference in my career. So I'd say intuition for sure. I would encourage people to be entrepreneurial in the way in which they're attaining their talent. If we fixed that, I think we would see a better influx of women and people of color and Black women in leadership positions, because those tend to be the highest attrition rate employees to leave large organizations. And if, let's say, you're Accenture, since they're one of the title sponsors here, if they were hemorrhaging clients and customers, they would not spare an expense. They would bring in the biggest and brightest minds. It didn't matter if you were a data scientist or if you were a graphic designer, wouldn't matter. You were a part of the team that was going to solve their customer attrition problem. Yet when it comes to employee turnover, they just leave it to HR, and they give HR maybe 1/90th of the budget that they should have in order to actually create a fulfilling culture and dynamic that empowers marginalized communities to get the resources they need to continue being promoted. And I feel that if organizations put their best and brightest minds to it the same way they would with the intention and care that they have for their customers, since their employees and their talent base is what attracts customers and builds all of the things that your customers are buying in the first place, they would be in a much better position. I'm a girl's girl, so I'm always surrounded by wonderful, ambitious, supportive women that I now have to filter through it. But I think my first mentor, my mother, she taught me everything that I needed to know. And I saw her from a very young age just enter the world in every space that she was in with a servant leadership headspace, where she wanted to make sure everyone that she touched felt seen, heard, and empowered. She was always making direct eye contact. It didn't matter who we were communicating with, the person at the register at the grocery store, or family members, or even, her bosses wherever she was working at the time. Everybody was treated with the same level of respect and care. And I've taken that on with me as well. And, since her passing of pancreatic cancer, August of 2018, I have felt a strong sense of responsibility. I look exactly like her. So I always feel a sense of responsibility to be the next lap in our family's lineage, to ensure that servant leadership is just a part of our culture and not a one-off. So I think that would be the one. I'm very self-aware.
Okay.
I practice a high level of self-awareness. I know what I have the bandwidth for. I know the types of projects and initiatives and spaces that will energize me and play up to my strengths, and the ones that will drain me, where it just makes sense to have another fantastic woman of power serve in that space because it aligns to her energy field. And I'm very fine with taking a backseat if somebody else is better suited to take the helm of that, and then giving them the resources they need to grow. And I think that's been a big piece of it. But in terms of the how, I balance my time. I'm very aggressive and protective about my time management. So I currently serve on one board, potentially joining an advisory board for another nonprofit based in Austin. But that's it. I want to make sure in terms of like my philanthropic endeavors, I'm able to give not 100% of myself per the earlier session, but I'm able to give as much as I can within my bandwidth. I think about everything that's important to me on a daily basis, and I just want to be great at 3 of the 5 things on my list. Whether that's being an exceptional daughter, exceptional friend, exceptional leader, supporting my clients, doing book work, whatever it is. I just pick 3, and then the other 2, I'm going to have to be okay with being at 80%. And I have to remember that my 80% as a former tech entrepreneur is the majority's, 200%.
Exactly.
And I just have to rest in that. I feel powerful Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I've woken up, put fresh sheets on the bed for the week. I have my favorite composer, Eric Christian, playing just like surround sound through the apartment. I just finished a bar class online, and I'm getting ready to go hike the trail. The Town Lake Trail in Austin, Texas.
Oh, I love that.
I think that's when I feel the most powerful, because none of those things actually impact anyone besides my mental health and well-being. Like, those are things that genuinely make me feel happy. I did a needs and values assessment with my leadership coach, and order and cleanliness was like the top thing. Where if I have that in place, and the rest of my day in terms of how my nervous system is operating can stay at a pretty stable zone. And so for me, like I love that feeling of like fresh sheets. And I know that that's what I'm getting into Sunday evening because I did it early. I like that mind-body connection between bar and Pilates, and like pushing your like muscle, like your muscular strength, and the connection with your brain in that process. And then being able to then have 2 hours of just time outside with headphones, but just being able to be outside and around people without needing to be on or engage or like have a full beat, like just existing and walking for 2 hours. It is the best time, and I just feel the most empowered, the most beautiful, the most centered, and that's where my power should always come from, I think. The things that people are trying to diminish and blow out of you, they're trying to do that because they themselves don't have the courage to ignite their own flame in the same way that you were just divinely led to have a torch lit for you. Your path is so ancestrally led and is going to take you further than you ever thought. Do not let Disney and Nickelodeon tell you that you should be just the spunky black sidekick. You are the main character. You are the star, and just give it a couple years.